People, and welcome back to Revitalise Meets, the interview series where I get the chance to catch up with many global business connections to find out about their business, about their challenges, about their achievements, maybe even share a sprinkling of top tips galore from our connections as well. And today I've got the great pleasure, no, privilege, to be joined by a fellow connection and also one of my RBC members. It is the one and only Mr. Steve McKenzie of the Crafty Connoisseur. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Morning, Lee. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm pleased you said that. So thanks very much, Steve. Steve, can we start off, first of all, for everybody who's watching and listening, can you give them a snippet of how the Crafty Connoisseur was created and your business in whole?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it short. I mean, most people know my background's finance, accountancy, etc. And it came out of a connection with a client through another business connection. And we started a company, the client and I, who became good friends. It was import-export of spirits. The idea was to import different types of sake into the UK and export things to Southeast Asia. We started exporting gin, and my wife and I, Brenda, used to post on our personal Facebook pictures of gins that we had been sampling, and people started asking us where they could get these gins. So we thought, maybe we're missing a trick here. So we created Crafty Connoisseur, and the idea behind the name was that we didn't want people thinking that you had to be someone that was a wine expert and all these sort of things. That within us, we all have the potential to be a connoisseur if we appreciate what we're drinking. And we wanted to be different. We didn't want to be just another online off license. So we were putting all these different spirits from all over the world that you can't get in supermarkets online for people to enjoy. And it's just sort of grown from there, looking at different stories from all over the world and from the UK, and just trying to bring these to what we call our crafty nation, our followers and potential connoisseurs.
And I guess as that grown, so over the years, your portfolio, your collection of different, because you've got various different brands, bespoke brands that you deal with.
Yeah, I mean the our portfolio changes along with the brand story as well, because we work primarily with small batch craft producers when we can, and sometimes their journey takes a different turn. They may go from being small batch, not being in supermarkets, to suddenly land in a supermarket deal. And unfortunately, that's the point where we sort of part company. Our view on supermarkets is everything's cheaper there, and nobody gets the value. The suppliers don't get the value that they need out of it. The customer does, but we sort of draw the line at that. But it's good because we meet people from all over, and it's not just about the products; it's their stories as well. We've met people who sold their IT business to distill gin. We've met people who are working offshore, and when they're not working offshore, they're distilling something. It's a real pleasure and privilege to find out their story, and that's what we try and convey. We're like unofficial ambassadors. We tell you about the product, we tell you about the branding, we tell you about the people behind it and why they do it. So there's a lot more to it than just saying, I want to buy a bottle of spirit. And that's what we try and convey.
So it's a hard job, man, where you've got to try and test and get the knowledge base around all these lovely drinks, yeah?
It is, but the irony of it is I'm not a big drinker. And that can actually be detrimental because we can end up with a backlog. And we've had a lot of people say that they're quite happy to be our unpaid testers and things like that. And that's not something that we won't necessarily look at, because we value the opinions of our customers, because our customer base keeps us in business. And if people are liking a certain spirit or disliking a certain spirit, it can affect what we'll stock and what we'll look into. So but certainly tasting the potential samples is good. The downside of it is you're never really off work. Even if we go on holiday, we'll be sitting there and we'll be looking to see what the bar has behind it and thinking, oh, they've not got this, they've not got that. Maybe we could speak to them if they're interested. So you never really switch off.
It's true, when you go on holiday, you want to switch off, you want to try and recuperate the batteries type thing, but it's hard when you've got all that sort of entertainment and that around you as well to try it out, and then it becomes habit of just looking and doing doing a bit of feedback on a drink that you're sitting there drinking.
Yeah. No, it's good. Sometimes even when you're trying these fancy cocktails, you're thinking, I wonder if I can recreate that back at home, and what spirit could we use? And again, trying to look at the ideas that we could bring to other people. And in the same instance, we get a lot of inquiries where people say, I've been on holiday and I had this type of banana rum. Can you get it? And we'll certainly do our best to try and find things like that. And it's always good suggestions for us. So it has its good points and its bad points.
More good points, I think, sometimes. But over the past few years, what's been your biggest challenge with your business that yourself and Brenda have been through that you've overcome and turned into an achievement?
It's making people aware of us and standing out from the crowd. I mean, if truth be told, just before COVID, we were having a rethink about whether we had to look at a different business model and things like that, because business was ticking over. And then when COVID struck, of course, everybody went online, and it was as if they had discovered us for the first time. We'd been there for a number of years, and they suddenly went, oh, I didn't know you did this. But we then had to pivot the business because we do bespoke private tastings as well. And of course, during COVID, nobody was meeting up. So we took everything online. We did Zoom tastings, which we're bringing families together. We're bringing business colleagues together. We dispatch the samples out, because people think, oh, I'm not wanting to sit there and watch you having a drink. The people get packs of samples. So it didn't matter where they were in the UK, that they could actually try that. So that actually helped us boost our presence online. And it's maintaining that. It's maintaining your presence, because it is a busy industry that we are in. And, there are a lot of retailers online that are doing a similar thing to us, but we've got to have that point where we stand out. And we think it's our portfolio that makes us stand out more. So I think the biggest thing is just engaging with your audience and making them aware that you're still there, what you do and what your story is.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned on there is the communication side of it, and it's the consistency. But it's also, what you did mention was adapting to the environments that's around you. We all went through that transitional phase of what doing. That actually leads me nicely on to, how did you adapt your business? Because you did a lot of the online tasting and you sent out the packs to many people. Did you find that online opened up that marketplace even further for you?
I think it did, because it took the geography aspect out of the way. I mean, although we're an online business, you can very much still be tied to your home area. But going online meant we did a team tasting for a business, and they had people in Inverness, they had people in the Isle of Wight, they had people down in London, and it brought all of them together, especially around Christmas time when people couldn't get together for Christmas parties. This was a great alternative. And we had to look at ways of adapting that. And, we were all stuck in our house. So our tastings were done from what we called our crafty kitchen. But we didn't try and disguise the fact that that's where we were. We told people, welcome to the crafty kitchen. That we're doing it from our house. What you see is what you get. My wife, Brenda, would even go as far as saying, if you see the camera shake, it's because my husband's crawling along the floor to let the dog out into the back garden because she needs a wee, and then people would say, right, we want to see the dog. And then they would say, right, we want to see the husband, because I always sit in the background and do the techie stuff. And it was just that interaction with people that we really, really like. And we love face-to-face interaction with people. We love the interaction that Zoom was bringing. And that's what we try and encourage. It's not us telling you what you should drink, how you should drink it, and all these sort of things. We want interaction. We want people coming back telling us what their experiences are, and we get a big buzz out of that. And Zoom helped us do that, and then helped us transition back to face when things got a bit more normal.
Yeah, I think it was really impressive the way the packs went out to everybody. I mean, we had one done as well, and it was great fun. And I think you've got to give that experience to everybody as well. And I think it's not just the experience of the product that you're promoting or the service you've got. It's that human effect. It doesn't feel robotic. They want to get to know you, Brenda, the dog, the family. And I think it's so funny about crawling through the ground to try and get your photographs. I think so you do that at some point as well. So
Yeah, I mean, well, the tasting we did with yourself was great because you built on that. You had entertainment and things like that. So and that's what we say. We do things to suit our clients. It's not a case of this is the program and you've got to stick with it. At Christmas time, we were stopping the tastings in between because people were doing quizzes and things like that. And it is, for us, it is all about the experience. And that's the thing that we try to say makes us different. We're not just trying to sell you alcohol. We're trying to help you enrich your experience with spirits and enjoy them better. And as we say, become a connoisseur of your own experience.
Yeah, very true indeed. And one thing that leads me nicely onto, as well as always, which I think we've rehearsed this is somewhere, Steve, I think, but from your experience that you've got within business and the people that you deal with, and especially within the Crafty Connoisseur, is there any sort of top tips that you could share to somebody out there who is going through that challenge of adapting? What would you say to them about, first of all, the challenge?
The challenges can always be overcome, is the first thing I would say, and always be positive. There's always a workaround or a solution, and the way to get that is not to believe that you have to do everything on your own. I love networking because it gives me the opportunity to have a lot of contacts who can help me in my business. We're going through a phase. Well, we went through a phase. I mean, we couldn't have done the tastings if we didn't have a good relationship with our couriers, and our couriers were working, because we'd have no way of getting the products to people. And it's about establishing the good connections, the good relationships, and knowing what you can do and what someone else might have to do for you. And that's where the power of networking comes in, is meeting these people, and you suddenly go to a networking event and you talk to someone and you suddenly go, actually, I've been looking for someone like you for ages to help me do this next step in my business. So anytime you come up against a problem, there's always someone there that can help you overcome it and adapt.
And I guess network has played a major part in your business, and especially growing your net worth now as well, most importantly.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it gives me an opportunity to tell people our story on what we do. And and stress. The first thing I always say is, "Oh, we sell alcohol," and but it's then elaborating on what you do, and again, what makes you different. And it's the same with any business. Whether you turn around and go, "I'm a painter and decorator," and they go, "Oh, right, but I specialize in." Cornices or whatever your unique selling point is. Networking gives you that opportunity to tell people, and it also makes you memorable, so they do remember who you are. And they can reach out to you, you can reach out to them, but it's definitely been a major part in helping us grow our business.
One thing I want to ask you, because I know you're doing a lot of traveling around now, I always see in the van, you're always doing something, you're traveling somewhere. How much, what a percentage split are you doing online networking and in-person networking? Is it a 50-50, or is it a bit more the other than the other?
I would say it's more 60-40 in favor of face-to-face.
Okay.
I like online networking as good as I say it. Online takes the geography out of the way. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had a one-to-one meeting with a gentleman in Mexico City. And we were talking about tequila brands. He works and represents small batch craft tequila companies in Jalisco, in Mexico, where all the good quality tequila comes from. And the time difference was irrelevant. Obviously, we had to do it at times that suited him and me, but it meant I could have a conversation with a business contact on the other side of the world, and start to forge a relationship, which we're doing. Now, there's no way, as much as I would love to, there's no way I'm going to jump on a plane, fly over to Mexico City for a 2-hour meeting and fly back. So that helps there. But also when it does come to geography, actually sitting down with somebody over a cup of coffee and having a good chat and getting to know them and things like that makes a massive difference. I'm very much a people person in that respect. So it's very much, I would say, more face-to-face where we can. Where we can't, that's where technology comes in to help.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to jump on a flight or a little charter plane and fly across some places like that and do the
I'm trying to
taste.
get as a business trip.
Just put it
a good accountant.
a travel expense for yourself. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I also know you do a lot of personal development and you invest a lot of time into yourself. You just mentioned sort of the podcasts, the audio books that you listen to while you've been driving the car. What's been your biggest learnings over the past sort of, the last 6 to 8 months? What's been your biggest learnings?
One of the biggest learnings is that you can teach an old dog new tricks. I could probably be quite stubborn when it comes to taking advice over the years. But the biggest thing for me is learning more about the effects my business can have on me, good and bad, but controlling the bad ones. I would like to say I've got my work-life balance at a good position now, where I enjoy what I do, but I also know where the cutoff is because I need to spend time with my family. I need to spend time with me. And it's getting that balance, because you can work all the hours that you can, and if it's only going to make you ill or you're not enjoying it, what's the point? Someone asked me yesterday what the ultimate objective of when you do your own business is, and I said, well, enjoying what you do. Yeah, you can make money, and we all want to make money because we make money to survive, to reinvest, to grow the business. But if you don't enjoy it, why? I see people, and I see some of the folk that I know, that the buzz they get out of doing what they do, and a lot of time that's not just selling; it's like helping people. If I can help someone choose a spirit, and they turn around and go, well, you've not got what I want, and I say, I tell you what, you'll get it here because we don't stock that. And they think, oh, great, that's really great. That's a good buzz that you get just from helping people. So it's not about, oh, I didn't make the sale. You still help someone. So I focus a lot on trying to keep my stress down. Over the years, stress has affected my health. And I'm trying to recover from that and get better and go in the right direction. And, at 54, I know I'm never going to be as fit as I was when I was younger, but anything's an improvement. So yeah, a lot of the podcasts and the books are very much to do with stress and health. The one I'm reading just now is Jen Lally's Empty Your Stress Bucket.
Love it.
And sometimes you read it and you go, my God, that makes total sense. Why have I not done that sooner? A simple thing like getting a good night's sleep and the different aspects of it and things like that. But it goes back to what I said before. You can't do it all yourself. Sometimes you need to listen to that podcast. You need to read that book. You need a good friend to come along and say, Steve, you're overdoing it. A turning point for me, it was a long time ago, and again, I never listened to it too much. I did at the time, was when my daughter was 5 years old, and she came up to me and she went, Daddy, you work too much. And I thought, if a 5-year-old can tell you that you're working too much, she obviously, from the point of view, because she wasn't seeing a lot of me, I thought that's the point. So sometimes you do have to listen to other people as well as your own inner voice.
Yeah. It's interesting when you talk about like the time-life balance. As business owners, everyone is time poor.
Yeah.
They're trying to cram as much as they can into their time that they're doing either out and about. And especially now, I think people are trying to get out and about there a lot more, but they're trying to cram it in too much. But they forget, and we've all been there, we've all wore the t-shirt and everything else, that your day finishes because you've been an automatic pilot and it's gone past the time you thought you were going to finish in the first place. Or sometimes it drifts into your weekends because there's no discipline there to say, right, okay, Friday afternoon, that's me done. Recharge the batteries, get the head in the best space that we can, and then start again on Monday. There's a way and a means of doing it, but there's a time-life balance that I think everybody struggles with.
Yeah. I mean, last year for us was a busy year. We were coming out of COVID, and we were at an event every weekend, whether it was a market or a food show or something like that. And we got that focused on being out there and making our presence known, that we actually weren't realizing whether some of these were beneficial. And our daughter, who's 15 now and has got a part-time job, thankfully she could keep herself occupied because she basically had no weekends with her parents. And we've made that decision to change that this year. And now it's sometimes we're like twiddling our thumbs, like, oh, we've not got nothing on this weekend. What are we going to do? And it's like, can we go out for a meal? Can we go and do this? And sometimes it's a case of, let's just sit and watch TV, or just relax or do something around the house. And I think one of the things I realized as well, especially going back to the sort of finance side, was there's always someone that will ask you, can you do this quickly? And then you'll respond and do it quickly and realize that it wasn't as urgent as they thought, because they're making time for their family. They're making time for themselves. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. And it's just finding that balance where everybody says, right, okay, I'll get that done for you, but I need to do this. I need to, I've now set a rule that I don't work past 6 o'clock at night for anything. And that's family time, so, or it's me time or whatever. I'm also trying to get fitter. So I now put items in my diary as appointments when I need to go to the gym or do some training or even just go for a walk, so that it's there, so that I treat that almost like a business. But it's just as important, if not more important, than my business. If my business fails, I'll find something else to do. If my health fails, I've had it. So it's prioritizing what's there.
That's a really good point as well. It's actually you're looking at your schedule and putting your own personal time in.
Yeah.
You're going to take time out. And if it's, especially the way we live now, it's if you get the chance to go for that, just a simple walk around the block or put something in that gives you completely disconnection. I mean, there's somebody showed me years ago is, take 10 minutes out and switch all your technology off.
Yeah.
And just be in the moment of yourself. And I think that's a really good thing, especially in business, that are happening too. But also what you were doing, you had the accountancy side of things and the Crafty Connoisseur.
I had that. Let's say my background is finance. I've been an accountant since 1986 is when I first started in finance, so you can tell I'm an old fart. And we had the Crafty Connoisseur as well. And for a lot of the time, my wife Brenda was really running Crafty Connoisseur with a little contribution from me. There was a couple of other projects that I got involved in, usually because people are always looking for someone on the finance side of things. And it got to the point that there was that much happening that it was just almost working 24/7. And it was detrimental to my health. I offloaded a few things last year. I got a good work-life balance with the accountancy side of things, but it also meant that I could focus more on Crafty. And then even just in the last couple of months, one of the comments that Brenda said to me was, I actually feel like you're making a contribution now, to our business. And that was good to hear, but it also hurt from the point of I felt like I've been letting her down. And that's the thing. You've got to come to balance with everything. It's good to have not all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, but in the same instance, we all have our limitations. And somebody once said that it's better to do a few things properly than a lot of things badly. And just touching on what you were saying about going for a walk, the other day when we had the Revitalise in Aberdeen, and Suze did the sound treatment, even though it was only for a couple of minutes, I said to her afterwards, I felt like I was in a different place. So again, for me, it is all about balance, balancing your workload, balancing your work. Your clients and your customers will understand, because at some point they will do the same thing with their clients and customers and so on. So I think you should never feel bad about saying, I can't do that right now because I'm doing this, but I will get it done for you.
Just prioritizing the time, like you say.
At the
end of the day, Stephen, I think
as you said, we're all time poor at some point. We don't focus on it enough.
Correct. And just to mention one there, we've got Jack Carlin. He's just joined us as well. He's just put an applaud sign there. So thanks for joining us, Jack. And if anyone's got any questions, if we are on LinkedIn Live as well, so please feel free to fire any questions into the comment boxes you might have for Steve and myself, just to answer for you. And if there's something of interest that you've heard from Steve already this morning in this conversation, please put it in there and please let us know afterwards. What's the next step for you? So the Crafty Connoisseur, you've been pushing it, really going forward strongly. What's the next step for you, Brenda? The Crafty Connoisseur, what's next, Steve?
Oh, I don't want to give too much away. 2023, we are planning a lot more. We've got a few ideas in the pipeline that we're sitting down and looking at. And I think the thing for us, and this is where the finance head comes in, we're looking at what might work, what the implications are, the costings, things like that. Because at some point you can have a great idea, But if you think it all the way through, you might get to the point where you go, actually, that's not going to work for us, or it won't work that way, and we have to tweak it. And it's interesting that Jack's here, because Jack's a good friend of mine, and one of the people that has helped us realize that if we don't know the answer, there's plenty of people out there that we can ask that, will help. So, if you get to a point where you go, right, we need to get the website more and more in people's faces, what do? We don't know anything about SEO. You get an SEO expert, or you need better photographs on your site, so you work with a photographer. You can't do everything yourself. You bring in other people that will help you with that expertise. So that's given us the motivation to push forward with making Crafty bigger and better. But ideally, we want to make it almost like a community hub where people can come and find information about various things to do with the various spirits that are there. People say, oh, well, why don't we shot tequila? So there's more information there. So as I say, it's not just about coming and buying alcohol. It's finding out more about it, who makes it, all these sort of things. So that's our plan going forward, is to promote Crafty more, to get out to more food events and drink events that we can get out there. If we can get more tastings this year, that'd be really good, because it's a face-to-face interaction as well. So, but we've got a few other things that we're working on just now that will keep up our sleeves. But all I would say is keep an eye on our social media, because hopefully you'll find out sooner rather than later.
Brilliant. Sounds like exciting times ahead for you, Steve, yourself and Brenda as well. So, with everyone's been watching and everybody's been listening today, how can they make contact with you about everything you mentioned about the food events, doing the tastings, etc., just connecting with you? How can they make contact and get involved with yourself?
The easiest way is our website. It's craftyconnoisseur.co.uk, and you don't even have to put the www bit in it, because I always get that wrong, apparently. And we're on all the social media platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, all these ones. We're on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to do us a favor, please email or tweet to Elon Musk and add him to add one character to the username, because on Twitter we're known as Team Crafty, because Crafty Connoisseur is one letter too many for the username. Everywhere else we're Crafty Connoisseur. On Twitter we're Team Crafty, but you'll find a lot of information on how to contact us and get in touch at the website. And if you do get in touch with us, it is us you're speaking to. We don't use bots or things like that. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is. If you're international and it's daytime where you are and nighttime where we are, you probably will still get a response.
Brilliant, Steve. Thank you so much. And is there anything that you are looking for specifically at present that our online and our audience can help you even further with?
If anyone has a product that they're looking to try and bring to market, and they need help with that platform, as I said, when we first started, it was import-export, and we helped a lot of small producers export their product ahead of the time that they thought they needed. And we really want to touch base with a lot of producers, whether it's gin, vodka, rum, tequila, in the UK or abroad, that are looking to try and get their product to a bigger audience and get their story told. And we're happy to meet up and chat with them.
Brilliant. Well, there's going to be some people out there, I think, reaching out to you after today's sort of interview as well, Steve. And thank you so much. And I would highly recommend, if for all of you who are watching and listening, is reach out to Steve, book in that virtual cup of coffee, or meet up with him on a face-to-face basis. I think you'd probably buy a cup of coffee and maybe a slice of cake might be in that as well.
Yeah, I'll push the boat out.
Push the boat out. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit further and just finding out what's coming up for you.
Thanks very much, Lee. It's been really good.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Steve. And thank you to everybody for watching and listening to the Revitalise Meets episode launch once again for 2023. Watch out for more episodes coming up soon with many other global business connections, business professionals, key influencers, key decision makers to help you and your network and your net worth grow and develop. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, from me and Steve, happy connecting, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.